Hi there, this is Emily with Local Tasting Tours, new downtown Halifax food and walking tours featuring delicious tastings from locally owned eateries. Our tours run this season from June 14th to October 14th, 6 days a week, and we depart from the fish shop at the Seaport Farmers Market right here in downtown Halifax on the waterfront. Today we're doing a tasting at the Granite Brewery stand in the Seaport Farmers Market for our podcast. Really excited to be tasting the Granite's products today, and we're here with the owner, Kevin Keefe. You'll see Kevin or one of his sons, Joe or Brian, at the stands. This beautiful, actually, wooden stand that they made from their bar, which used to be on Barrington Street, and it's really great. You can have a taste of one of their English-style beers here, and today we're going to be tasting Peculiar, which is a peculiar name for a peculiar and very exceptional beer. Kevin, where can we find your shop?
Yeah, we're up in the north end on Stair Street, which is one of the Hydrostone streets, but we're on the bottom end of it between Roby and Kempt Road.
I've been up there. You sell your growlers up there, and it's at 6054 Stairs, and I believe people can reach you at 422-4954. I understand that you did something kind of different for you in the last few months, and that's to do a lager, a Halifax lager?
Yeah, Halifax Premium Lager. We did that, brewed it in February, because lager, it's the first time I've ever brewed a lager. All our other beers are ales. And I also brewed a Dunkelbock, which is a German spring beer that's about 6% and pretty sweet, malty beer. We just sold the last one of that. It's gone till next spring. Lagers are really difficult to brew. They take a much longer time. They ferment colder, and they have, like the Dunkelbock, for example, had to be conditioned for a month and a half in a tank at 0 degrees.
You've got a Twitter account too. I know that's just at Granite Brewery, and there's another Granite Brewery in Canada. Is that right?
Yeah, my brother and I own one in Toronto also, and it's been up there since we started here in 1985. We opened Toronto in 91, and it's still a big bar restaurant that does very well and sells a lot of the same beers. We do a couple of different beers in each place. They do one called Gin Lane Ale, which is a barley wine, really strong.
Our guest for the podcast today is Andy Smith. And I know Andy because I went on his GhostWalk, which was a lot of fun. And Andy is the owner-operator of Tattle Tours, very successful tour company in downtown Halifax. Along with their GhostWalk, Andy does step-on tours. How long have you been operating in town, Andy?
It's about 10 years.
And your GhostWalk was so entertaining. It was at dusk. I was kind of curious sort of who you finds your tours, who's interested in them.
Well, actually, everyone. I mean, the children love the stories. Older, skeptical people may just like the history itself. And we're so rich in storytelling and odd events in Halifax.
And you do a stop at the old Keefe's Brewery on your tour, is that right?
Yes, I do, yeah. Mr. Keefe was rather fanatical about his business, and many people say while he's buried in the Campbell Cemetery, he is still caretaking that building. Andy,
we can reach Tattle Tours at 494-0525. Is there a way to find you online as well?
www.tattletours.ca.
So let's get down to the tasting. We've got some Peculiar. I'm just looking at it. It's got a interesting hue. It's like it's quite a rich color, dark but not particularly red. Is there something special about the Peculiar?
Well, it's an old-styled English ale, like a Yorkshire-styled beer, a bit stronger than the normal ones at 5.6. It's called Peculiar because I modeled it after a beer in England called Theakston's Old Peculiar. Now it's spelt a little differently. They spelled it I-E-R because in England a peculiar is like a local dignitary, the mayor of a town or village or reeve of a township sort of thing. I called it Peculiar, spelled I-A-R, mainly because in 1985 when I brewed it first, it was the most peculiar thing anybody had ever seen in this country. Beer just didn't look like this or taste like this, and we still hand pump it in certain places. So it's a very peculiar beer.
Andy, I'm interested in what you think.
I'm enjoying it. It's very full and rich, has a lovely taste of hops.
Andy, have you tried sort of many different types, or do you stick with the basic?
I would say I have about 3 beers that I come back to, and they tend to be local beers.
Listen, thanks so much. I really appreciate you taking part in our podcast. I'd just like to ask a couple of questions to finish off. Kevin, I understand you're a bit of a reader. Do you have a favorite local bookshop in town?
I mean, O'Doul's used to be my favorite. They've just moved over to Dartmouth, though, because they were only 2 doors down the street from me and when I was on Barrington Street years ago. Right across the street from it, there's the United Bookstore, and he's always got some pretty good stuff there. And he's a real reader, the guy that operates it. You can ask him anything. He knows he's like knows all the people I like to read. And he can tell me when I come in, oh, there's some new this guy, that guy, or whatever.
It's so fun to root around in a used shop, right? And Duels is the best because it just went way up to the ceiling. Andy, just since we're all about local and we're all about tasting, I was wondering if you had a food from your childhood which really, I don't know, stands out in your memory.
Well, this is going to embarrass me, but I remember way back when I was a baby and I loved vanilla custard. And I swoon when I see it across the room. It plays on me.
I'm the same with tapioca.
Rice pudding.
The guys and their custard. There's a place downtown, Eli does sort of a custard. Thanks to both of you. It's been such a delight to do our peculiar tasting here with our guest, Andy Smith from Tattle Tours and Kevin Keefe from Granite Brewery. This is Emily from Local Tasting Tours. Check out one of our affordable 90-minute tours this summer. $25, all food tastings and tax included. Fun thing to do on a Halifax afternoon. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, take a tour, take a bite out of Halifax.